Good evening, everybody. KC3QPJ here with Farmhouse Ham Radio. I hope everybody's having a good weekend. It's Saturday, May 7th, about 5:45 p.m. We did conduct our antenna test today on 6 different antennas. Conditions were much less than ideal today with the wind and rain, and also a lot of failure with my cell phone trying to record with that out in the field. But nonetheless, we got her done, and we got this all edited and up and ready to go. So the antennas that were tested were a Baofeng stock antenna, a Nagoya 701, which is an 8-inch dual band, a Nagoya 320A, which is a tri-band antenna, but it is the equivalent of the NA 771 dual band antenna. We also did the Nagoya Ultra Whip, and we also did the magnetic loop by TWD Radio, TWD Radio, weird name, but it works anyway. And then also we did the Abri 42-inch tactical. Pretty surprising results coming up. You guys stick around, and if you watch the end of the video, I'll have some special information with you and the results of our test. That being said, thanks everybody. Stay tuned. We're going to switch right over and get right into it. Alright everybody, I'm in the field, and as I stated earlier in our introduction, less than ideal conditions today. Been a nightmare with my phone shutting down, but we're going to start with the first test. We're going to start with the Baofeng rubber ducky on an Anytone 878. We're going to be conducting all tests around 4 or 5 watts, and we're going to be testing 2 radios. So let's start with the 878. We'll go through the slew of antennas that I have, and then we'll go over to the Baofeng and do the same test. So that being said, I got Tony standing by at my home QTH. We'll go ahead and start the transmitting. 14658 on 4 watts. KC3PRI, KC3QPJ. Tony, how copy?
KC3QPJ, KC3PRI. I've got you clear into the farmhouse. 4 bars.
Copy 4 bars, and this is on the Baofeng. We're going to go ahead and switch antennas. Okay, so like I said, less than ideal conditions today. Hopefully we don't have any more malfunctions with anything, and we just did. And this just isn't going my way today, and I know the lighting isn't as good as it could be, but we're gonna keep going and see how much further we can get with these tests. And this Baofeng antenna decided to mess with the retaining ring on the radio. So next antenna will be the 701 Nagoya dual band antenna. We're trying just to do dual bands today, so let's get with it. KC3PRI, KC3QPJ on the Nagoya 701 8-inch antenna. How copy?
KC3QPJ, KC3PRI. The signal's a little bit louder. Still full quieting here in the farmhouse.
Copy that, and I got you a little more full quieting with the 701, so we're going to step it to the next antenna. Stand by. Alright, so that's the 701.
Standing by.
And got a better signal report. Nagoya 771, which is the equivalent of, it's the NA 328, but it's the same equivalent as the 771. KC3PRI, KC3QPJ on the Nagoya 771 or 320A equivalent, and this is a 16-inch antenna. How copy?
KC3QPJ, KC3PRI. Full quieting here into the farmhouse.
Okay, and keep in mind, I forgot to mention right now, these tests are being conducted 1.25 miles from the farmhouse. Now, the Nagoya Ultra Whip, and hopefully this one will do pretty well. KC3PRI, KC3QPJ, Nagoya Ultra Whip, how copy?
Also full quieting here into the farmhouse. You can even hear a bit more of the road noise behind you. KC3PRI, standing by.
Alright, I appreciate that. Yep, full quieting here, and we're going to move on to the magnetic loop. Stand by. Alright, so
now KC3PRI.
On to the magnetic loop. He's responded. KC3PRI, KC3QPJ on a magnetic loop. How copy?
KC3QPJ, QPJ, KC3PRI. You are full quieting here into the farmhouse. Not as much hiss as other times we've experimented with it.
Alright, copy that. Yeah, I kind of had to adjust for position, no problem. And then lastly, we're going to do the Nagoya, the Bree Tactical standby. Alright. And then what we're going to do is we're going to test the other radio at our next site because I'm pretty much expecting the same thing with the Baofeng as far as reception, only 1.25 miles out. But we have the Baofeng BF-R3, but let's get this 42 inch knocked out. All right, KC3PRI, KC3QPJ on the Bree 42 inch tactical. How copy?
KC3QPJ, KC3PRI. No static whatsoever and a full quieting signal here into the farmhouse, KC3PRI.
Copy that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I will see you at the next location, and I will test both radios at the next location. KC3QPJ, and I am pausing recording.
7-3 KC3PRI. I'll be clear but monitoring.
All right, so now we're 5 miles out. Baofeng handy talkie antenna, and we're going to try. I'm going to have to turn my truck rig down. All right, so we're going to try to reach Mr. Tony 4 watts. Keep it as even as we can with the radios. Stock Baofeng antenna that comes with Baofeng radios. KC3PRI, KC3QPJ. Do you copy? 5 miles.
KC3QPJ, KC3PRI.
There's a little bit of sizzle on you and your 3 bars here in the farmhouse, but perfectly copied.
Okay, that's stock Baofeng. I'm going to go ahead and switch to the Nagoya 701. Stand by. All right, so that you could hear a dramatic increase in static. Let's see if the 701 does any better. And then on this video, which will be the end video here, we'll check the Baofeng receive as well. Let's do this. KC3PRI, KC3QPJ on Nagoya 701. How copy here?
KC3QPJ, I had you at the beginning and I could hear your call, but you were 1 bar and a fair amount of static. KC3PRI.
Alright, copy that. I have you with a lot of static as well on this end. And we'll go ahead and switch to the Nagoya NA320, or the equivalent, which would be the 771. Standby. Alright, so already differences in the antennas. This one's used quite well, and yeah, definitely changes things. So this is the NA320 771 equivalent, much longer antenna. Let's see how this receives. KC3PRI, KC3QPJ on the Nagoya 771 equivalent, still made by Nagoya but tri-band. How copy?
You've got a lot of noise in the signal there, 0 to 1 bars, fairly faint audio and quite a lot of hiss and bacon on top, but we can make you out. KC3PRI.
Let's try a retransmit on that, because I do have wind in there. I scooted over about 8 inches. Is that any better?
Yours better. You're up to 2 bars, and there's a lot less static on your signal, and the audio level has come up.
Copy that. Okay, we're going to switch to magnetic loop. Don't have high hopes for it, but let's try it anyway. KC3QPJ switching to magnetic loop. All right. Now this is where this thing's supposed to shine, and it's supposedly directional, and I apologize for the lighting, the wind noise, whatever might be going on in the background, but let's see what's going on. And I think I missed an antenna, so we'll have to try the ultra whip too. Magnetic loop, is it a gimmick or does it work? KC3PRI, KC3QPJ on magnetic loop. How copy on magnetic loop?
KC3QPJ, KC3PRI. You're 2 or 3 bars here, and there's surprisingly not a whole lot of static there present, but the audio is very clear.
Actually, it made a huge improvement on receive on this end as well, and cleared up a lot of the static. So I skipped the ultra whip, so we're going to go to the ultra whip next, and then we'll get to the tactical KC3QPJ. All right. Maybe not a gimmick.
KC3 PRI standing by.
And it's half unscrewed and still receiving his signal. All right, so let's see what the Ultra Whip does. All right, KC3 PRI, KC3 QPJ on Nagoya Ultra Whip, which is the model, oh good grief, NA24J is the model on the Ultra Whip. How copy on the Ultra Whip?
Well, it looks like the signal's pretty spotty at best. It's bouncing up and down here between 2 bars and no bars, and occasionally dropping a squelch. KC3 PRI.
All right, copy that, and that's basically the little bit of picket fencing that this thing is doing, because it's whipping around everywhere. Okay, let's switch to the big boy, and then I'm going to switch radios and do the same test. Stand by. All right. So we're going to put on the Abri Tactical. Let's see how this clears up the signal. 42-inch tape measure style antenna. I have it unfolded already. It's a windy day. It's a noisy day. I'm hoping my microphone is picking most of this up. So let's try the Ultra Whip, which is actually the Tactical Whip, which is really windy, so I'm going to support it here. KC3 PRI, KC3 QPJ on the 42-inch Abri Tactical. How copy?
KC3 QPJ, KC3 PRI. There's a fair amount of picket fencing on you, but the signal that's making it through here is loud and clear.
Alright, copy that. It's hard to hold it steady, but it definitely improved the receive on this end. Hardly any noise in the background.
Yes, this last transmission came up to full quieting and very easy copy.
There you go. Yeah, it just proves line of sight. I moved it over just a little bit. So, okay, stand by. Keep the recording going, and we're going to switch over to the Baofeng BF-R3. All right. Now, let's see the differences in receive in these two radios. So you've heard that. We're going to start with the Baofeng stock, which is this antenna right here. I'm going to turn frequency mode. And we're transmitting on 2 meters on 14658. Which is pretty much between the middle and the high end of the 2 meter band. So let's try this. Squelch level. Let's see what we're going to turn squelch level to 1, which is
squelch.
Confirmed. There you go. Baofeng voice menu. KC3 PRI, KC3 QPJ. This is the Baofeng BF-R3 on the stock antenna. How copy?
You're floating between 2 and 3 bars, and there's a fair amount of static on you, but the audio is fairly copyable. KC3 PRI.
I'm surprised. That actually sounds pretty good. All right, I'm really shocked because the stock antenna did pretty good. Okay, I'm going to switch over to the 701. Stand by. And you heard me say keep recording. We're trying to sync this as best as possible because we don't have editing software right now. We may decide at the end of the video to not use the syncing software, so we're experimenting as we go. That's what this hobby's all about, and that's what using computers is all about. Nagoya 701. KC3 PRI, KC3 QPJ on the Nagoya 701. How copy on the 701?
Well, I only copied the beginning and the end of that transmission, 1 bar at tops, and was not able to hold the squelch open.
Okay, copy that. But receive here is pretty good. A little bit of bacon in the background. Did it get any better on the second transmission?
It did. It cleared up a tiny bit. You're 1 to 2 bars now. The audio is fairly copyable at this end. KC3 PRI.
All right, copy that, Tony. I appreciate it. We're going to switch over to the Ultra Whip. Stand by. All right, so now the Ultra Whip. And then we'll do the NA320A, which is a tri-bander. All right, here's the Ultra Whip. All right, KC3 PRI, KC3 QPJ. I think you should expect a little bit of picket fencing style signal. How copy on the Ultra Whip?
Well, you guessed correctly. There's significant picket fencing here. The signal was bouncing up and down from 1 bar to 3 bars, and the audio kind of corresponded with that. KC3PRI.
All right, copy that. Very big, significant difference here as well. Very poor reception. All right, so that's putting it through its paces here. And it doesn't help there's power lines around, but it seems like a couple of the other antennas were able to supersede that. Switching to the NA320A. All right, so I don't believe we did the NA320A yet on here, but let's switch it out. And this is exactly 5.2 miles, guys, and hopefully this recording's going really well. KC3PRI, KC3QPJ on 14658 on the Nagoya 320A 771 equivalent. How copy?
KC3QPJ, KC3PRI. You have a very broken signal here. Occasionally dropping squelch there, and not much quality on the audio. But
all right, I think that's positioned since the. All right, Tony, I changed position. How does this read now?
Couldn't be any more night and day. You were full scale here into the farmhouse. KC3PRI.
All right, that sounds really good, man. And yeah, it's I'm really surprised at the reception on this Baofeng, but I kind of parked next to power lines, so I think the closer I'm getting with these antennas, the worse it gets. Switching to magnetic loop, standby. All right, so we're going to switch to the magnetic loop. Let's keep it on this side, just so that we know what's going on here, and keep it away from the power lines. It just seems like that little bit of difference in the shift from this side to this side makes a big difference. Let's try it one more time. Magnetic loop, kind of in the direction of the farm. KC3PRI, KC3QPJ on the magnetic loop at 5.5 miles. How copy?
Well, that's perhaps the clearest transmission that I've gotten from you. It's full scale and full quieting. KC3PRI.
All right, I'm going to slowly change position to see if it's directional. Kind of offset from line of sight to the antenna. How copy now?
Well, as you were turning there, the signal continued to degrade. It went down as low as 1 bar, so it definitely seems like it's got a bit of a directional element to it.
Yeah, copy that. Back to original position. Still a change?
You're 3 bars, but that's enough for atmospheric variation.
All right, copy that. Well, one more antenna and then we'll be homebound. Stand by and I'll hook up the Abri, KC3QPJ. Alright guys, so kind of concentrating on what I'm doing because it's windy. KC3PRI, KC3QPJ on the Abri 42-inch tactical. How copy?
Every bit as good as when you were just a mile away. Full quieting. KC3PRI.
I think this one's the ticket, along with the magnetic. I'm surprised with the magnetic. All right, welcome back, everybody. If you hung on for that ride with the tests, I'm glad you were able to watch and suffer through the whole thing. Just to let you know, me and Tony both were in agreement. We were very duly impressed with this little bugger right here. Now, I will say that this is the TWID radio, two-way radio, whatever you want to call it. The TWID radio magnetic loop. This thing is only about 5.5 inches high, and it is very directional, but very surprising results with that. Also, and not to be outdone, but the Abri 42-inch tactical antenna, very affordable antenna. I was a little bit disappointed with the 701. I've had this antenna for a while, and it seems to have gone down in its effectiveness as long as I've had it, and I have used this around the farm for the last 2 years before I even decided to start testing antennas. So I think what our next project is going to be is building our own quarter wave single band antenna, but a true quarter wave 2-meter antenna and a true quarter wave 70 centimeter antenna. So I hope you guys stay tuned. I hope you all learned something. I know today I had a lot of difficulty. The conditions were less than ideal. I actually filmed a lot of this during a power outage and was using my generator to power my computer so I could film the inside part of things with Tony at the base station here. So that being said, guys, hope you all have a fine weekend. I was really impressed, and I will be giving away the TWID radio magnetic loop. Save yourself some money. It's actually pretty heavy duty. It's a nice light duty antenna. I was really stunned at the report I got from the 5.5 miles or the 5.25 miles that I was at. So I will tell you that I watch my comments. So we're going to see how many comments and how many watches we can get. And in order to get people to watch the entire video, I'll know if you've watched. So the 10th person to comment on my video with any remarks at all, if you are local, I will deliver this antenna to you. If you are not local, give me your address. We'll exchange emails, and shoot your email address in the comments below. I know you might not want everybody to have it, so I will delete your comment if you put your email address in there, and we'll ship you out this antenna. Very impressive. Anyway, guys, have a fine afternoon. This is KC3QPJ. Looking forward to doing new reviews here to come soon, and quite possibly sooner than later with the release of the IC-T10. Hasn't been quite released yet, but we're going to be heading there. Once again, special thanks to KC3PRI. Y'all have a fine day. This is Aaron, KC3QPJ with Farmhouse Ham Radio, saying 7-3.